Hey everyone, Michael Manaskanian here for another live office hours in the Wealth Through Real Estate School community. So if you want to just join that, there's a link down here if you're watching on YouTube, Instagram, there's a link in the bio. And then, well, if you're already on school, then you're good to go. Just look up Wealth Through Real Estate. It's a community full of hundreds of real buyers, lenders, capital raisers, and intentional connectors, whether you're connecting deals to buyers or capital to buyers. So you're just making, you're making some real connections that way. Um, so if you wanna stay along with the journey, please check me out on Instagram. So that is Michael M Nat. So Michael MNAT on Instagram, and then YouTube is Intentional Investor. So if you want some longer underwriting or whatever wherever you should follow someone on Instagram or YouTube. So I got a lot of content in there, primarily focused on deal analysis, my buy and hold strategy, creative financing, and capital raising, plus the operations of my overall business. So we'll start with a brief intro on the intentional investor. So I am starting a paid community, a limited group coaching community called Intentional Investor, which is, well, let me start with the foundation. I have a 6-week intensive boot camp called the Veteran Investor, where I'm helping real estate investors scale their portfolio with the specific goal of achieving financial freedom. So they are learning everything with the foundations of financial freedom and how they're going to get there and planning their timeline. And then we're going into mastering the art of deal analysis. There's a bunch of curriculum focused just on analyzing deals, how to be very strategic when you're analyzing and renegotiating deals. Then we go into generating consistent leads, investment opportunities for your business, and my strategies and the tools and resources I use to have consistent deal flow coming my way. We go into the due diligence and property acquisition process and really standardizing that process. So you're minimizing your risk when you're, before you ever get into an investment property, and you're analyzing them effectively and setting yourself up on the right foot. We get into capital raising, all the different ways that I raise capital to buy real estate using none of my own money, including the last $18 million of real estate, 50 plus properties, using none of my own money to buy that real estate through private money lenders, private money partners, all that good stuff. And then we go into just like the systems, tools, and making sure that you actually have, when you're raising money, you have all your marketing material, you know how to intake potential capital partners, what to communicate, how to send deals out when it's time, and like really all of that stuff and all the systems, tools, and resources you need, including everything that I use in my business, everything that took me years to develop on my path to financial freedom. And I continually improve and add more and more information there. So the intentional investor, which starts November 1st, 11/1/2024. This is the only month that I'll have it open, especially at this price. So if you want to join, it'll only be November 1st. But what I'm doing is I'm taking all of the content from the 6-week intensive veteran investor bootcamp, putting it into the intentional investor community. I'm putting in a 7-part series on getting your first or next deal, literally the entire step-by-step process of doing so, before you even need the veteran investor and creative financing and all that. So if you're a brand new investor, it's a great opportunity to learn how to correctly bring on deals, analyze them, purchase them, all that whole process. And if you're someone who's a little more experienced, you get that to improve your current process, as well as the veteran investor to help you scale massively. And then I have dozens of creative finance and deal analysis trainings in there as well. Capital raising, just dozens of other trainings that are relevant to there. And whatever anyone feels is missing, I'll just continue making content and more trainings for that. So the goal isn't just here's videos, it's here's videos and I'll continue making it better. Plus we have group coaching. And if you stay within the community, you just want to try it out for the first month, just the month of November, awesome. That's your only time to join. Otherwise prices go up, or I'm capping it at 100 people either way. So if you don't join within November and we have over 100, I'm not letting more people in unless we go under 100, because I want to add as much value as possible to the people that are part of the group coaching, because my only measure of success is how many people are making progress, real progress towards financial freedom, which for you all is buying real estate, ideally using it on your own money, and then lending money out to push you forward with your financial freedom journey. So if I have too many people, I can't help everyone do that successfully. So the goal is to limit the amount of people that I'm helping do that. So only in the month of November. If you just try it out and you say, you know what, it's not the right fit for me, no worries. You can just get out. You can cancel anytime you want. If you stay after one full month, you're going to get my ultimate creative finance calculator, the $400 calculator, best one out there. When you look it up on Google, it's the first one that comes up. When you do that, you'll get it for free within the intentional investor community. You stay another 30 days or like one more month, then I will do a one-on-one consultation with you. I'll listen to kind of where you're at in your current journey and then help you develop a customized roadmap for where I think makes the most sense for you to move forward on next so that you can streamline your journey to financial freedom. It's not as interactive or as intensive as the 6-week boot camp, but you have all the training, resources, and everything you need to be able to, and the documentation that you need to be able to buy and hold real estate, lend money out, and then scale your portfolio through raising capital. Let's see. So you'll get all those bonuses. It's only for the month of November. If I do open it up after November, price will be higher. We'll be capping the number of people that can join, and you will not get the other bonuses. This is solely like a big reason for this is so I can win the school games and so I can meet Alex Hormozy and that could benefit the whole community as well. So I'll come back with all the lessons learned and continue improving and just creating better offers and better products for everyone to just help you in your investing and financial freedom journeys. So that's why November has to be the month. After that, I'm not overly worried about adding more members in there. Month of November is the one time. If you know you need that step-by-step blueprint, the support of an actual real estate investor who has 50 plus real estate investments worth tons of money all over this country with every single acquisition strategy, every single management strategy, and you want that support and all the training and resources and tools and documents that I've built and utilized and continue to improve to get to where I'm at and then more. Like I'm not done buying real estate. I'm just opening access to the things that I do. This is your one opportunity to do so. I cannot guarantee you that I will ever do this again. And this is not an urgency thing. If you need convincing, you're not the right person for this. This is literally for action takers that know the value in scaling their portfolio and they want to actually achieve financial freedom. If your goal is to sit there and watch videos and expect results, it's not going to happen. Don't waste the spot. Don't sign up. You're not the right fit for the community. It's only for people that really want financial freedom and they understand real estate investing, capital raising, and lending are going to be their way to get there as quickly and efficiently and effectively as possible so that you can be financially free to do whatever you want with your time. I'm not selling you. I'm not convincing you. You know if you're the right fit or not. If you have questions, I'll myself or someone on my team will talk to you and we'll answer questions and all that kind of stuff. But no one here is trying to sell you. If you're not the right fit, don't join. Save that spot for someone else. Take advantage of all the free stuff in the Wealth of Real Estate community, the live weekly office hours, YouTube, Instagram, all the stuff I put out there. Leverage that free stuff if that makes the most sense for you. But if you really want to take it to the next level and you really don't want to pay the high ticket 6-week intensive bootcamp, get access to everything. Get access to me, get access to live coaching calls. I'm going to bring people in to help with specific management strategies. Not only do I buy and hold and manage every single type of asset, but I'm very well connected with people who are experts in short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, long-term rentals, which is whatever, Section 8, sober living homes, pad split, or rent by the room, one of my favorite. So if that's the right fit for you, you know what to do. I'm not going to convince you. It's up to you. The waitlist will be down below and it's in the free Wealth of Real Estate community on the sidebar. So you can definitely check that out. So that's Intentional Investor. That's all I'm going to talk about it in this capacity. Any questions before we get started and do some live deal analysis? Hi, Nadine. We can't hear you, but go for it.
I have a question.
Of course.
Why are you so awesome?
Well, I don't know. I just literally think like it was my eyes were open when I was told, what do you wish you knew 5 years ago when you started this whole journey? And 5 years ago, I literally had zero real estate. I had no real estate. 5 years ago was 2019. In 2018, I started learning about real estate, started meeting other people who were ahead of me, but no one about mentorship or education or anything. All I had access to were books. And I'm a reader. I had access to books and podcasts, but no one was there to help. And that was fine. I didn't expect anything from anyone. But now, as I progressed in my journey, achieve financial freedom, literally do this thing full time, own a large portfolio and all that, I just want to help other people do the same thing. And I'm really trying to make it as accessible and transparent as possible because I feel like very few people actually do that. A lot of people take people's money for the sake of taking their money on their path to financial freedom. I think there's a lot of disingenuous people out there. And I think either one, these coaches, gurus, whatever, they do it because this is their path to financial freedom, is coaching others, not because they've actually done it through real estate. I think that's one part of the problem. And I think the second part of the problem is so they don't even know how to help other people because they haven't done it themselves, or they don't want to be overly transparent like I want to be because they want you to be dependent on them to grow and scale your portfolio. I actually don't want to mentor you. I want to coach you and provide you all the resources to be able to succeed and provide you all the support that you need. But I do not want you dependent on me. I want you to be able to buy all the real estate your heart desires. I want you to master the ability to analyze deals, whether you're a buyer, lender, or capital raiser. I want you to be able to raise the money so you don't have to use any of your own money to buy those deals. I don't want you to have to work through me for any of that. I want you to be financially free, and it's only going to happen if you put in the effort and you have all the tools and resources. So I'm just trying to do what I wish I had 5 years ago. I can't believe what I've done in less than 4 years while building this whole thing out. I mean, I'm part of the amazing sub two community. So if you want community, I'm not offering that. My thing is, yes, we're a community. We're all helping each other out. But if you want the best community out there, sub two with Pace Morby, like literally the best community there is out there. Sub two with Pace Morby. I've been able to do so much because of that community, all the people that I've met. But if you want an actual blueprint for financial freedom through buying and holding real estate, raising money to do so, and lending your excess cash out, that's what this is. This is that with additional support and just custom trainings as you need to, as someone who's actually doing the thing every single day, right? So between sub two and this, you literally would have no excuses, no reasons why you cannot achieve your dreams. And that's literally what I want to put out there, because I don't think enough people are doing that. So that's why I'm awesome, because I'm just inspired to help other people do the thing that I did before I was 30. Like, this is what I want. And that was the eye-opening thing, was what do I wish I had 5 years ago? And this is it.
That's amazing.
Thank you
I
for
just
that
want to say
question. I know it was a little.
I'm super pumped. I'm super pumped to start it
Yeah,
on
so I mean,
one.
several people in here I've already filled out, and I know Nadine, you're going to be joining us November 1st. Gary joining us November 1st. I assume James might, like, regardless, two's
Hi,
joining us in
James.
November 1st. We got plenty of people in here that are joining us November 1st. So
Hey,
if that's something you want to be part of. Once again, enrollment is only for the month of November. I may never allow people in again, or I'll just cap it to 100 people, and when people drop underneath, I'll add more. But it's literally, I just want to ensure everyone's successful, not grow this thing to as large as possible. There's other platforms that you can do that on. Do you want to
are
just
all
be?
is all the joining information in the school?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's on the school. It's
group?
in the financial. I have a financial freedom masterclass, and then that's in one of the trainings you unlock right away. So please watch that. Understand my entire journey and understand how you can do the exact same thing. You don't have to do it as you don't need 50 real estate properties. You do not need $20 million of real estate. You could do it. I literally, and I'm gonna even show more stuff. You can do it with 15 properties, one property a year. If you do 15 properties, one a year, you'll get to $100,000 a year in passive income. That's not even accounting for the debt pay down, the appreciation of those properties, right? All that equity and all the tax savings you get from owning those assets. There's just 100,000 of passive income for that goal. I think everyone, especially if you're doing it using none of your own money, how could you not want hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of passive income using none of your own money, but you have to work for it. Like, how could you not want that? And I understand some people have maybe a shorter term perspective, or like, what will give me pleasure today versus the long-term benefit. But if you really want to if you want to work hard for a few years, you don't even have to work that hard. That's the crazy part. You just have to follow some repeatable steps over and over again. It's really not even that hard. It's remote. It's so chill. It's like such an easy way to do it. But if you want to do that and you put in that work for a few years, you will be free for the rest of your life. Or you can work for the next 40, 50, 60, 80 years for someone else until you die. And it's ultimately up to you. Everyone's got their own goals for life. Mine is not to work for someone else or to grow their business for the rest of my life. That's why I worked so aggressively to do all this, so that you all can do the same. So you want info to that? It's in the financial freedom, the free training you get for financial freedom in the wealth of real estate community. There's a module saying like intentional investor or whatever. And I'll put more information out there about it. I also posted about it in the school community. That has a lot of info in there as well. So if it's not up right now, I'll make sure that it is so you can access it. Cool.
Okay. For those of us who were gifted
Mhm.
the
I
first
got
3 months, right, in the community, do we have the option at the end of the 3 months to come in at the same
Yes, locked
deal?
in at the
Okay.
original price. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm not
Okay.
gonna. This is not a like the money's like whatever. If the way I could win the school games was any other thing than the amount of monthly recurring revenue you can generate during that month, I would do it differently. But this is the only way to win the school games, and that's my ask from people. If you want to help me win the school games and you want access to like an incredible amount of information and trainings and step-by-step blueprint and resources and just everything that you will ever need, then this is the way we're just exchanging value so that I can win the school games and you can build your financial freedom journey, like just really accelerate that journey. So yes, everyone who's in it, already or done the wait list or has won it as part of the free school community, I got you covered. I got your back. I'm not here to try to extract money from you guys or anything extra. Like I got you, and you're gonna transition nice and smoothly if you choose to.
Just curious.
Yeah,
I get
no, it's a great
FOMO.
question. I didn't even think about that. Like, yes, no, because this is all real. Like, I speak very transparently because I'm not sitting here thinking about what's the best thing to say or what's the like whatever. It's like I literally just communicate what I'm actually feeling. For some people, it's too blunt, it's too rough around the edges. What I've
It's
learned once
genuine.
again, Martell, is this is just me, and I'm just gonna be authentically me. This is who I am, and if you resonate, awesome. I'm here to help you. If you don't, awesome. There's plenty of other people that you can't resonate with. My business partner and I are so successful together and separately, and we're so different people and personalities. Like there's just a bunch of people that can help you on your journey. Find the person that resonates with you the most. And if you really want to be a buy and hold real estate investor that raises money to buy your deals and be a master
Mhm.
deal analyzer and even a lender, I've got you covered. That's who I help directly. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. If you're not putting in the work, you're gonna get none of the results. I don't know what else to say. I'm not
Yeah.
ripped because I don't work out or eat right as the way that I was in the military. Like I know that. I will, but I don't right now, and I understand that.
Hey, in your partnership, are you the visionary or the integrator? Because you seem to be all of it.
Yeah, so we're weird. We are both visionaries, heavy visionaries with
Ah, okay.
with integrator tendencies. So that's why I create the calculator, I analyze deals, he analyzes deals, I work on our CRM, I update. Now I'm outsourcing a lot of that stuff like CRM. Like there's people who are doing that day in, day out. They can do that. Obviously controlling deal flow is really, that's a big part of like we have to be part of that process. But we're both visionaries. Simply, we're both visionaries with integrator tendencies. And I'm actually for the intentional investor community. That's one of the trainings. We're going to talk about partnerships and what questions to ask another partner and what is a process to like ensure you guys are minimizing risk early in the journey. And then how do you actually officially make it a partnership? And I'm going to have someone interview me and go through all of that to help as many people as possible in the intentional investor community. So that's another thing I'm going to add. I'm just going to continue adding more and more value to there. But I have like an insane amount already that's already there from right when you start, and then continually give you more and more each month. And then as you guys ask for more stuff, cool, let's document it, let's share it to the community.
Awesome.
Great question though.
Thanks, Michael.
I know there was one more quick question. Let's see. So Gary, he had to drop off, but he
Yeah,
said, how do I best analyze a fix and flip calculator? How do I best analyze a fix and flip? That's right. How do I best analyze a fix and flip using the Ultimate Creative Finance Calculator? That's not exactly what the Ultimate Creative Finance Calculator is for. It's for buy and hold real estate, especially if you're raising money. There is a whole tab dedicated to your after repair value and getting that set up. And then two different strategies for estimating your renovation costs. What I don't have on there right now, or actually anymore because I removed it. What I don't have on there right now is like an actual fix and flip calculator where you're accounting for carrying costs and you're accounting for like the debt financing costs and all that kind of stuff. What I can do is reintroduce that, not right away, but I will add that back in. And then I'll also add the component because I love when you're doing a fix and flip, if you also analyze it as a rental. So if the fix and flip gets tighter than you expected, you always have a backup option. If I were to cash out refinance this or just refinance it, would this still be a good rental? Maybe it's not a good fix and flip anymore, but would this be a good rental just in case it's a backup plan? That's why I look at all of my fix and flips is, will this also work as a rental if this doesn't work out for me as a fix and flip? So I'll incorporate both of those, the fix and flip calculator, and then like the BRRRR strategy, the buy, renovate, rent out, refinance, and then repeat. That's the last R is like repeat that money because you infinite supply of money theoretically in that scenario. So I will introduce both fix and flip on that calculator. Plus, if you were to BRRRR that property, if you were to refinance it and maintain it as a rental, how would it look in that scenario as well? So I will add both of those. Any more questions? We can keep answering questions, or I can look through a deal that was sent to me that I was going to look at anyways as like a deal analysis.
Yeah, Michael, this is Derek. If I could ask you a question.
Of course you can.
As I came in, like I've been in the sub two about 6 months. I joined in on a team. I've been fortunate enough to put together two wholesale deals,
Nice.
still not understanding the full function of it.
What were your
But
role? What was your role? I mean, you were on a team, so what were you doing?
Yeah, lead management for the most part. So
Okay.
I'd get second call in, and then I tried getting understanding acquisitions and dispositions, but that's beyond my, my skill set at this point in
Right.
time. So if I look at this and, I signed up to look at being the intentional investor, to be very honest, the fear and maybe limiting belief is, holy cow, how am I going to be able to do all of this myself? And it's a fire hose going in. Like, I want to become a capital. I'm 54. I want to raise capital. I want to
Mhm.
move forward with what I'm doing. And I want to get my wife out of work in, 3 weeks would be great. That's unrealistic, of course,
Right,
being
right.
silly, but
You're realistic. You gotta have a realistic timeline, so it's something you
yeah,
do. You're just joking.
yeah, yeah, correct. So I'm just, I am not well versed in sub two yet, but I want to join. I want to do something, and I'm cool with doing the work. I just don't know
Obviously, if
how
you're
I.
wholesaling, you're doing lead management, you're obviously okay doing the work because
Yeah.
that's the worst of it. I mean, honestly, I think you know that better. Do you guys have a VA before you or no?
We did. Yes, they did have a VA that was working with them. Yeah, doing the initial
No, 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 I'm
cold
saying
calls.
doing your role. Do you have someone before you make contact? Is there a
Yeah,
VA filtering that
correct.
first?
Yep. Yeah, they did
Okay,
the
good. I was
four
gonna say,
pillars.
otherwise, that's actually the worst of it.
Yeah. And I did that for about 2 months, and then we got a VA, and then
Yeah,
I
cold
went
calling is the
into,
worst.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so then capital raise. All right, so you mentioned a few things, and let me hit on them kind of. I write notes because that's said I just kind
Cool.
of talk, so I need to make sure I'm hitting what makes sense. So let me start with this. People ask me, like, my revelation over the last several years is I never needed to wholesale a single property or fix and flip property or even earn money from a job to be able to afford the ability to buy great real estate investments. Because all you need to do is have a great investment property and then raise the capital to buy that property. And you need the experience in operations or the hustle to get all that done. If you cannot do that, you can always partner with someone to do that early on because maybe someone will not lend to you directly, but they'll lend if you have a proven operator that you're partnering with. And that's how you're getting more and more progress towards your financial freedom goals by buying more real estate, right? So I used to think you needed to go through wholesaling an active income to then flip that into a fix and flip to make more active income to then buy your first real estate investment. When I realized that was all an illusion and I did not need any of that, and it was actually a waste of time and a detriment to my ultimate goal of financial freedom, which comes through that passive income of buying, holding real estate, that like shook my world. People say, would you go back and never wholesale? In that sense, yes, I would have skipped that entirely because it does not help me buy more real estate. But what it did help me do was understand acquisition strategies better. Well, that's not even true because a lot of wholesalers do it randomly. They just put any motivated seller under contract and hope someone buys it. The way I did it was very intentional, where I was only putting properties under contract after talking to buyers to make sure it was at terms that made sense for them. So I was being very strategic about saying, if I ever put something under contract, I know that there's a buyer for it because it's a great deal. A lot of people just put things under contract and then hope someone buys it. That's why they have they can't dispo half of their deals or more because they don't know what they're putting under contract. So if you're doing it intentionally and learning, it could be very valuable for buying and holding real estate. But you don't need to learn. It's honestly pretty straightforward. I know it may seem like a lot, but like to learn acquisition strategies and what makes sense in what scenarios and what terms, like it's more deal analysis and underwriting, in my opinion, and understanding acquisition operations and management strategies is more important than like learning that from wholesaling. You said you've done it a few months, done a few deals. That doesn't necessarily propel you much forward outside of that one specific task that you're doing now, which is that lead management. In my opinion, if you wanted to be a better buy and hold real estate investor and wanted to put your hustle first and generate some active income, you're better off doing that as an intentional capital connector. You're finding proven buyers and you're helping them raise money on their very specific deals. And then you cannot raise money on a deal unless you understand why it's a good deal and you need to be able to articulate that. So that's building that skill set and you're developing the capital raising skills. Or you're connecting with buyers who want more deals, right? This is all to buyers who are leveraging on people's money. It all feeds into the same concept because that's what you want to get to. So take the actions that get you there. So if you're connecting with buyers, you can raise capital for them and understand why they're buying that deal and how the capital is going into it. Or you understand a buyer and what they're looking for. So now you're analyzing deals, analyzing investment opportunities, and then bringing it to them to buy and operate. And maybe you partner with them and then you guys jointly own it. Or maybe you just like not assign it, but you connect it to them, intentionally connect it, not say, hey, here's this random deal in your DMs. Good luck. No, hey, I analyzed this deal. I think it's a great investment opportunity for you based on your buy box and what you're looking for. If you were to raise capital, here's how you could do it. So you buy it with none of your own money. Oh my God, if you serve that up to someone brings that to me, they get thousands of dollars for that. And you're actually developing the skill set of what do buyers want, analyzing and doing that, right? And then how do you raise the capital for that? You're developing those skills. Intentional connecting, in my opinion, is better for buy and hold real estate investing and capital raising than wholesaling ever was. So that's what I've learned in hindsight. For me, it was helpful to my journey because I kind of wholesaled intentionally. I'm basically talking about what I did in the lens of wholesaling, but it was really kind of this intentional connecting capacity. So I think there's a better route to get there, is what I mean to say. You do not need to wholesale to get there, and you could learn the information fairly straightforward. If you want to monetize that as part of your journey, part of your process, before you start buying and holding your own real estate and managing them, then you can do that by intentionally connecting capital or deals to proven buyers and operators. Hopefully that answers those first two. And then if you want a capital raise for yourself, well, the best thing to do is capital raise for experienced operators. If you don't feel comfortable doing it for yourself yet, and you want to do one part of it, become a capital raiser for a proven operator or multiple. Start raising that capital for investment opportunities for others. Imagine how much easier it'd be for you to raise capital for someone like, and I don't need anyone to raise capital for me. We have plenty of capital raised, but imagine if you wanted to build the skill set of raising capital for great buy and hold real estate investments, because that's what you want to do. Wouldn't it be, I mean, it's way easier. Like imagine the buyer says, hey, this is the deal that we're buying. Here's the terms that we're buying it at. Here's what we're offering to our capital partners. Here's why it's a good investment for them. That would be way easier for to go raise that capital than trying to do all that back end before you even start raising that capital. Does that make sense? That was all freestyle. So hopefully it made sense. And I'm happy to add more clarity to any of
No,
that.
no, no. It's making sense. It is above my pay grade completely of understanding at this point in time, because I
No
do
worries.
think I will have to come in and try and learn the analyzing and other things along that way. I don't have the means of, doing it for myself to start. So I would like to make it easier for myself in the long run by helping others do it. And then I would assume be able to make money off of that. So,
Yes. You don't have to
okay.
assume if you're raising money for other investors who are especially proven, don't raise money for everyone. People who are proven, experienced operators only because if your reputation is tied to that, right? Because you're raising the money for that investment, make sure it's a good investment first and foremost, and make sure that that operator is a proven operator who's gonna take care of their lenders and partners. So attach yourself and your name and your reputation to that so that they do not harm your ability to scale in the future. And you will make money on that. For certain, you will make money on that. I pay people for that. People have paid me historically when I connect them to the right deals or connect capital to them, which are two things that I do because sometimes we have more money than we need, or sometimes there's a deal that is slightly outside of our buy box, or we've got too much onboarding at one time. We'll connect that to other people. So it's things that I'm doing regularly. I get paid for that. I mean, I guess I would do it just for the sake of doing it, but I don't have the time to just do it for the sake of doing it. So there is a financial component to that. And if you want to develop, like if you think my three pillars for true success in this is first and foremost, mastering the art of deal analysis, buyer, lender, capital raiser, connector, whatever. Like the only caveat is wholesalers, but the worse you are at understanding what's a good investment, the less deals you sell. So you're wasting all this marketing costs and all this time putting bad properties under contract, never being able to sell it. If you were more intentional, you could save a lot of time and make much better returns if you're intentional about wholesaling. You don't need to for wholesaling. Like you could just put things under contract and try to sell it and see if it works. But the more intentional you are, the better. But if you're analyzing deals or if you're buying, capital raising, or intentionally connecting, you're gonna need to master the art of deal analysis. At least for me, that's part of my blueprint. My recommendations as part of one of your main pillars. Next is you need a step-by-step blueprint. You need like a path to follow that's proven and that's accessible to everyone, which literally everything I've done is accessible to everyone. I started in the military with very little money and got to this point, right? So you need that proven blueprint, and that's what the intentional investor community is. Here's the step-by-step blueprint. Here's the exact process. Here's how you're going to master deal analysis. Here's the support that you need when you have questions that come up. Here's additional trainings. Here's this, here's that, right? That's what intentional investor is solving. And the third big pillar is community. And like, once again, I don't think I'm going to create the best community out there. I also don't necessarily want to create the best community out there. That doesn't align with my lifestyle goals. And I'm not even someone who likes to like text or get on phone calls or email. Like I don't like to do that stuff. I'd rather just be present in the moment, not really attached to my phone and that type of communication. But there are phenomenal communities out there, which once again, sub two, like, I mean, you see sub two, wherever it is, sub two, my mentor's book right here, Well Without Cash with Pace Morby. You got my owners club, my sub two. I mean, Pace and I are great friends, and he's very helpful and has been a huge pivotal part to my journey. I wouldn't say exactly in regards to like my ability to buy and hold real estate, but he has opened my eyes to lots of things and possibilities and helped me scale myself from someone who's just doing everything independently, succeeding independently, to then succeeding with a team and having way more fun and now growing and helping other people, right? So, you know, I think that community component and the knowing that there's literally thousands of investors all over our country doing every single strategy, any market that you want to operate in, there's always someone that's physically there that can help you and support you if you need to. That's why community is so important. And that is what you get from sub two. And then I teach the other two, right? I teach you the art of mastering deal analysis. I have the best creative finance calculator out there that I use for every deal that I do. And hundreds of other people use it for theirs, maybe even thousands at this point, especially if you add the free and the paid one. And then I'm giving you the step-by-step blueprint, the exact process. So you're get 2/3 from me, 1/3 from, let's say, sub two. That's if someone were to ask me which one, that's the one I'd say. Sub two is the community you have to be part of. Hopefully that answers your question. I know I kind of rambled there a little bit, but
No, it does. So intentional investor gives me pillar two, and along the way, I'm going to learn pillar one from that pillar two section.
yeah, like one of the main benefits of it is you get access to my, you know, I'm very transparent, $25,000+ 6-week intensive boot camp, right? Depending on how many people are joining at that time. That's literally what they pay. You get access to all the recordings, all the trainings, all the trainings and recordings, all the resources they get, all the tools that they get, everything that they get, you get access to. It's not do it together like I do with them. I'm not helping you build your marketing material, but you have the sample marketing material. I'm not helping you build your buy box. I'm giving you access to my buy box and their buy box so you can see and customize it for yourself. So it's not as do it together, but like that's why it's a tiny fraction of the cost. It would take several years to just make up what that cost is through the monthly intentional investor cost. So you're getting all of that access to everything. Plus I have the real estate investing, like the standard blueprint, you know, for someone who's starting on their first deal or, you know, their first deal and they're trying to buy their next few deals, like, you know, 0 to 5 deals, essentially, you get that access to that whole training curriculum, plus like dozens and dozens of deal analysis and underwriting and all that stuff is all included in there as well. So you literally get 1 and 2 of those 3 pillars. And the third one, community. Once again, I recommend sub 2. There's plenty of ways to get that. But for me, I highly recommend the sub 2 community for the community element, for the education, the blueprint, mastering deal analysis. I don't know anyone that can do it better than I do it. I literally don't know anyone. I go into these huge communities and educate them on all of these concepts already. Rob Abasola's creative camp, whatever, I educate them on deal analysis. Amy Majori, one of my mentors as well, I help with deal analysis there. There's plenty of people and communities that I'm already helping create all of their underwriting and deal analysis training for and come in and educate them. I thought, why am I doing this for someone else? I might as well do this for my people, my tribe. Let's just do this together. Let's skip all the other noise that people are offering. Because if you want the blueprint for buying home real estate, analyzing deals, and raising capital, who better? I can't think of anyone better, especially who's actively doing it every day.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Of course. Thank you for that question. That actually really helped probably add a lot of insight into intentional investor and why it might be the right fit for the right person. Not everyone, right? If you're not going to take action, it's not for you. Don't do it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste our time, because there's a lot of people in there that are going to be taking action. Don't waste anyone's time. Just focus on what you need to outside of that.
And that is its new school starting on 11/1.
Yeah. So I have the school there, but like you can only enroll starting 11/1. That'll be the first day. I assume there'll be a large wave of people that first day, and then we'll trickle in until we get to that 100-ish mark, and then I'll cap it at that point. So, I'll allow unlimited enrollment for the month of November, probably. But anyone that joins, if we're over 100 in like December, you will only be able to join once we get under 100. If we get under 100, and I don't expect that for at least the first 3 months, because after the first month, you're getting the paid ultimate creative finance calculator. So you're getting that, it's already included. The next month, you're getting that one-on-one consultation. So you're getting all these extra things that you're unlocking. And there's a lot more that I'll probably continue doing like on a monthly basis so that you're unlocking more and cool things in addition to the community and the support and education. Okay. Any more questions? And then we can quickly go into some.
Actually, I can save it for later because I
Oh
know
no, if you want to go for, I mean, we don't need to do a deal analysis. It was just one thing I was gonna do to fill it in, if we needed that. That's just the deal I was gonna look at anyway, so I figured I might as well just do it live with you all.
Okay. Well, really briefly, I'd be curious to know your thoughts on being over leveraged as we scale our portfolios.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that? Because it can be really daunting for some people.
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you want to, and I talk about that actually in the financial freedom like training, like I really talk about that to an extent, like the different assets and the risk to like understand real estate is higher risk because of the leverage, right? But that leverage also plays into some of the massive benefits. For example, you can buy a property, let's just say a 5% down payment, a house hack. Like you can buy $100,000 property for 5,000. Let's just use an investment loan at 25%. You put $25,000 to buy $100,000 property, right? And you get the tax benefits on the $100,000 property. You get the appreciation on the $100,000 property. You get the debt pay down on the $75,000 loan, right? 100,000 minus the down payment, that's $75,000 loan, but all you had to put in was that $25,000. And then when you're analyzing your cash flow and cash on cash return, you're tethering that to the $25,000 you put in for this $100,000 asset. So that's the best part of real estate is the leverage and risk. But you don't want to over leverage yourself and get into so much debt that you cannot handle it. And honestly, I say that, and that's not even genuinely how I feel. I don't think it's a concern about how much debt that you're adding, especially if you're buying real estate, let's say at market value, and then you're using other people's money, a private money lender, a partner to buy that deal. You're maybe negative equity. Like that to some is like, oh my God, that's so risky. I think that's actually very minimal risk as long as you don't need to sell that property in the very short term. But what you need to do to minimize your risk is ensure, is this a great investment? Am I comfortably making more money every single month than my expenses? Because it doesn't matter if your property becomes negative 20K equity, that $100,000 property that you bought is worth 90K now. That does not matter until it's time to sell or if you need to refinance. But no one's going to force you to do that, right? No one's going to force you to do those actions unless you choose to. That's on your timeline. But what will happen is if you are not generating more income than your expenses, right? If you're losing $200 a month and you cannot sustain that yourself from your other sources of income, then you're going to be in a pickle because you're going to be behind on payments. That will force you to then have to do something difficult, try to sell it, especially in that scenario if it's negative. That is the risk, in my opinion. Buying home real estate as opposed to fixing and flipping. And we talk about this in Intentional Investor. There's a whole part about this, like equity versus cash flow and like minimizing the risks from that. This is awesome that you brought it up and it's something that I'm offering.
Yeah.
The risk mitigation for buy and hold real estate is cash flow. If you're worried about over leveraging and debt, buy less deals. And I would say the best way to minimize your risk on this journey, if you want you don't need $20 million of real estate. You do not. If you want $20 million of real estate and you're going to use other people's money, you're going to have probably close to $20 million of debt early on, right? They're going to appreciate in value and all that. But if you bought $20 million of real estate today using other people's money, it's probably your net worth is zero. Your value of your assets and minus your debts are probably going to negate each other and be zero. Over time, the debts go down while the values go up. So it continues building and building equity. That's the wealth part of real estate. But the financial freedom is the cash flow. And the way you minimize your risk is by buying great investments that have solid returns for you and your partners. And that if something were to go wrong, if you have higher than expected vacancy, or if something comes up, you're already analyzing for reserves, you're already analyzing for property management, you're already analyzing for vacancy. And then you still have spread to be able to mitigate if there's a slower month or an unexpected expense, whatever, you're still minimizing that by the spread in cash flow. That is how you minimize your risk. Another thing is not scaling too quickly, in my opinion. What I've been able to do in 4 years, I don't recommend everyone does that. That's why I say, if you want to be financially free, if you give yourself 15 years and you buy one property a year for 15 years, you can get there. Like, I'm not saying it needs to take you 15 years. Just understand the shorter the time frame, the slightly more risk. But the hardest part of a real estate investment is very early on when you're analyzing it, putting it under contract, raising the money, closing on it, and then executing your renovation and then your furnishings if you're furnishing it, and then your management strategy. Once it's operational, it's a lot less risk, right? But that's when things can take a long time. That's when people end up, like, if you take too long renovating it, you take too long furnishing it, you take too long renting it out, now you're losing that full debt payment every single month. You're losing that entirely. If it's $2,000 a debt payment, you're losing $2,000 a month. Once it's operational, you have that cash flow coming in, right? So it's like you've minimized that risk. But if you're buying 5 properties at the exact same time, you have to get all 5 renovated, furnished, and rented out. That's very risky for a lot of people. It's stacking too many at one time. So maybe instead of doing 15 over 15 years, you do 15 over 7 years. So you do, one every 6 months, or you do, let's just use 16. That's an easier number because 16 over 16 years, that's easier because the math. So instead you take 8 years because you're doing 2 a year, right? 1 every 6 months, or it takes you 4 years because you're doing 1 every, I don't even know. I'm like losing myself in the math. 4 divided by 16 is 4. So you're doing 4 a year. So 1 a quarter. Wow. For an engineer, that's pretty embarrassing. So you do 1 a quarter, right? But that's very sustainable. It's when you could even do 1 a month. You could do 2 or 3 a month. But when you're trying to do, the people that fail and over leverage themselves are because they're buying more properties than they can successfully set up and operate and get cash flow positive. I wouldn't worry about buying more deals. I wouldn't worry about buying your next deal until the last one is fully operational, and then buy your next one. It doesn't mean you're not going to keep looking for investment opportunities. It doesn't mean you're not going to keep raising capital, but unless you have outsourced management, like we have done, outsourced management and asset management and like the renovation process and all that, if you're the one doing it, you can simultaneously get one onboarded while you close another one and then onboard that one, and then you're simultaneously doing multiple. But understand that's really the risk, is having too many properties that are generating you literally no income. So the risks are minimize that by analyzing your investment properties and then not doing too many at the exact same time. Doesn't mean don't do 1 a month or 1 a quarter. That's totally fine. Make sure before you buy the next one, you can successfully execute your pro forma, your renovations, your furnishings, and your management before you add more. That's how you minimize risk, in my opinion. It's not the debt itself. I think people over worry about debt. The only time debt becomes a concern is when you cannot pay for that debt, right? But you're buying properties that cover your investment, you're making money, your partners are making money, and you're setting aside reserves and you're setting aside vacancy and you're paying for property management, and then you're still generating cash flow for all of you guys as owners. That's how you're minimizing that risk early on from the analysis perspective. Then the real risk is onboarding too many properties that you cannot successfully set up and operate in a reasonable time frame. And even then, we have multiple months of carrying costs and reserves for that as well. Like we have 3 months of carrying costs as reserves when we're buying these properties. We get it operating in one month. Cool. Now we have 2 extra months of reserves already built in as well on top of all that. Or maybe it's longer. Like it just depends on the property and the strategy, like how much you set up. But hopefully that really expands into my mentality on risk. And why you should over leverage yourself with too many at one time, not really the debt itself. I'm not saying buy properties negative equity, like massively so, especially like sometimes I use that as a negotiation tactic. Talk about that in intentional investor. We talk about all this in intentional investor in much more detail and like step-by-step process. Because I am an engineer, I'm a systems guy, I'm a process guy. So I'm trying to perfect this process where I have been for myself. And now I'm just sharing all that with everyone. I have nothing to hide, which is the cool part.
The reason why what prompted the question is because very recently I was made aware of someone pretty well known in our community.
Right. In sub 2 or wealth through real estate?
Sub 2.
Okay.
Sorry, in sub 2.
Because they don't teach this stuff in sub 2.
Right.
But what I go over is not what is taught in sub 2. Like I will clarify. That's why a lot of this stuff happens.
Yeah. No, I love it. You're right. It's intentional. It's very tactical. Not that you can't find that in sub 2. Sub 2 is wonderful.
You can find everything. You can find everything and anything. In this, it's buying home real estate, mastering deal analysis, raising money to buy those deals, all for the goal of achieving financial freedom and massive wealth. That's like very specific. We're the opposite. We're not anti sub 2 because I love sub 2, but we're very targeted, but not like these other guys who charge you $50,000 to buy a boutique hotel, or charge you, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars to learn about short-term rental arbitrage or some bullshit. Like what? You're so taking advantage of people for a hope. Like teach them the real things they need to do to build cash flow, financial freedom, and build wealth so they can literally never worry about money again. Teach them that stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry for all that. I rant because it
Oh no, it's
that's
okay.
frustrating. That's why
Rant away.
I'm gonna be one of the top people in this whole space because I'm actually gonna be adding so much value to people. And I've already been doing it for free for years. I can't wait to start taking it to the next level with everyone.
Yeah, love that.
So you were saying, yes, the prompt.
I was gonna say that what prompted the question is that a very well known person in sub two sold his entire portfolio and had mentioned that, you know, maybe not entire, it wasn't entirely because he felt like he was over leveraged, but that was part of it. And so it got me to thinking, wow, because he was just on a roll and just killing it. And this person is
No, let me clarify that. So yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly the scenario you're talking about. Yes, maybe that's his rationale on it. I don't know, and he could feel that way. For
yeah.
me, I think the main problem was when you're focused on one market and only one strategy, which is midterm rentals. Then when you have multiple vacancies, once again, the issue is cash flow and not being able to operate them successfully, not the debt amount, not the debt versus the property value, because you're buying properties for cash flow so that you can be financially free. The wealth is where the debt matters, and the debt payments do not matter unless you're not generating more income than what you're paying each month. You minimize that by being very intentional with your analysis, and they were not good deals that were. What you shouldn't do is buy shitty ass deals and then say, I'm going to midterm rent it and this is going to solve all my problems. No, be very intentional and make sure as a midterm rental, is that successful? Understand as a midterm rental in that market, what is the occupancy you can expect? And understand that, yes, if you have a lot of properties and a lot of things go wrong and you have a lot of vacancies, that's a huge issue that you may not be able to handle with your cash flow or your income sources. And if you have a lot of damage or a lot of unexpected, maintenance or capital expenditures, you better have reserves set aside for that. That's where lending also plays a big role into building your active income. That's a whole nother separate piece that we'll get into, but that could be the explanation, but really that only happens primarily because they can't handle the cash flow part of it. They cannot operate the property. What I tell everyone is it's actually, especially in the sub two community, as a leader myself in the sub two community, I know how easy it is to find investment opportunities from wholesalers to say, hey, I got a deal, I'm going to buy it. Doesn't mean it's a good one. They just found something. Oh yeah, I'm going to buy that. So all you got to do is bring in the entry cost. There's no filter. There's no vetting you. It's, I'm going to buy this property because a wholesaler has it and they need $10,000 and I can buy it. Right. That's it. And then raising money, especially as you get propelled in the community, you don't even have to get propelled in the community. It's very easy to raise money, honestly, especially within the sub two community, because people trust each other, which is phenomenal. But then people also get taken advantage of. So I always say, as a lender, analyze investments. Don't just put your money out there. Analyze and understand, why is that a good investment? Analyze the operator itself. Determine, is this an operator you want to work with? Do they have the experience and knowledge and skills in that strategy, in that market, that you want to attach yourself to that? Because the operator is 90% of it. The deal could be phenomenal and the bad operator can ruin it. And then if that's a great operator you want to work with, make sure the deal itself makes financial sense. And as a lender, I've had to filter out, I've had to grill these people raising money and connecting money and say, what are you doing, dude? You're literally setting people up for failure so you can make a few bucks. You're such a piece of crap for doing this. You're setting people up for failure because you're a piece of crap and you want to make a few bucks, as opposed to thinking about the person who's selling the home creatively is going to be at risk. The person who is lending the money is at risk. The buyer doesn't know what they're doing because so let's say rant over. It's very easy to buy deals and it's very easy to raise money to buy those deals. None of your money. That's the easy freaking part in the creative finance space. Getting access to deals and then raising the money to buy that is the easy part. The hard part is truly underwriting a deal, analyzing it truly, and then executing that pro forma, your business plan. I'm going to close on this day. I'm going to finish. I'm going to have my renovations. I've got several contractor bids. I'm going to have it renovated and done by this amount. And I've analyzed, I know what my budget is, plus or minus 10%, whatever. Then I'm going to furnish it, and that's going to take me this amount of time and cost me this much money. Then I'm going to have it managed. That's the hard part. And I say there's literally no benefit to buying real estate if you cannot keep that real estate. So people are wasting their time buying real estate that they cannot effectively keep because they are just making numbers up or making themselves feel better by putting fake numbers into a spreadsheet instead of truly analyzing that and then saying, this is a good deal. I've already accounted for a lot of the risks and I'm going to execute my pro forma. That's why I say don't do too many properties at one time.
Yeah.
Buy it, renovate it, furnish it. If you're going to renovate and furnish it, right? Do those things, then get it rented out immediately. Literally the first deal I ever bought, I bought it in like the May 25th of 2020. We had it renovated by the 28th of 2020. Literally 3 days later, and then I had it rented out by June 1st. Your goal is to get these things rented out as soon as possible. You make no money unless income is coming in. Prioritize the income coming in more than buying more deals and raising more money. Make sure every property you're buying, especially using someone else's money, you are doing what's right for you and for your partners. Really, your partners first. Make sure you're doing what's right for them and for yourself secondarily by getting those properties operational and profiting. No other business could ever succeed if you have no one, if you don't have the income coming in, of course you're going to fail. That's where it's a failure. The buying and the equity and the debt to the property value. I mean, unless you're way overpaying, don't be dumb about like paying 100,000 plus over value for a property. But like if it's somewhat reasonable and the returns are there for cash flow and your cash on cash return goals are met, that is how you minimize risk. That is when, and that's just maybe a lack of experience thing in that specific scenario, or maybe it is too many properties not generating the income they need to. I don't know the specifics, but hopefully that provided some insight, at least into my rationale and where I really think that that's an easy way to opt out and say, oh no, it's not going to work. I'm gonna do this. Because then you exchange that portfolio for what? A couple grand in cash flow to then sell more education to people. My whole thing has been, I'm going to be financially free through real estate before I teach other people. And I've taught people for free this whole time. Now this level is, I've literally done the thing everyone is trying to do. Let me help you, like in this space, not everyone in the world, but in this space, you want to be financially free. And your best route to get there is buy real estate, make sure it's actually going to perform well by analyzing it effectively and having great operations, and then raise the money so you don't have to use any of your own money. Now I'm educating people after generating $15,000+ a month in cash flow, after buying $20 million of real estate, after owning over 50 properties, after raising millions of dollars for those deals for myself, and then even more for other people as well. That is the time you educate people, not use education as a way to be financially free. That's bullshit to me. For everyone involved, everyone in the space that does that. The best mentors, Pace Morby, is not doing education to make money and to be financially free. He is doing real estate. He's doing the real thing, and that's his actual wealth. This is just a side component of it because this is how he gives back. That's the right way to educate people and mentor people, not the way everyone and their mother on Instagram and whatever and TikTok is trying to get another 10,000, 20,000 people to then hopefully that will make them free. That's so disingenuous. And I wish there was like, and I'm not like, I'm more like libertarian in this sense. Like, I don't think the government should come in and regulate that. But at the same time, like, damn, like that's such a disservice to everyone. If you pay for it, I mean, it's on you too, as the person paying for it. Take accountability, right? Ultimate accountability of your actions, but understand that I do not agree with the majority, 95% of people out there, people that even help and educate in their communities and realize, dang, I'm like 10 steps ahead of these people. I've got bigger portfolios, but they're on the podcast. They're on this because that's what they've prioritized is marketing and coaching, not actually doing the thing that is really going to help you. Nadine, you're going to be financially free, not from becoming a coach, from buying and holding real estate and then lending your money out on great investments, not from becoming a coach. So then you need to learn from someone who is actually buying and holding real estate and became financially free that way, not the person who became financially free through coaching people on how to do a thing they've never done, you know?
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and I hope you don't mind. Oh,
No,
actually,
I don't
no,
mind.
if you want to get into
I
the deal
rambled for a
now.
minute or an hour now. So
Okay. Are there any instances where or maybe let me just ask you this way. The net cash flow that you get from your properties, do you immediately deploy that into another investment, or do you lend that out, or are there any instances where you take that and you actually pay down your loans earlier?
actually, and I talk about this in the intentional investor community. So there's like multiple strategies of what you should do when you have extra money. I think of all money as fungible. It doesn't matter if it's attached to this property or not. Like, what is the most important thing I could do with that? And understand, I buy and hold my real estate with my business partner now. So we have to make those decisions for part of my portfolio. I also own 27 rentals entirely on my own, or 27 rentals entirely on my own. But for the ones that we hold together, we have like actually, this is something I'll include intentional investor and veteran investor, kind of our process of what to do with extra money. But what I recommend is pretty much pay off your highest interest debt first. Don't even invest that money because you don't need money to, the $10,000 I generate, I don't need that to go buy or whatever. Let's say I have $50,000 generated from cash flow. I don't need that to go buy more great investments because I'm just going to raise more money from others. What I am going to do is pay off the high interest debt that I might have. And the most high interest debt that we have is between 10 to 12% private money loans because those are interest only. So we tend to, just for the sake of simplicity, take the excess cash flow and pay off our PMLs first and foremost, right? The goal is to pay down their principal, and my private money lenders don't necessarily want to get paid back early. So I'll save that up in a savings account or whatever. You could lend that out and whatever, like you don't have to pay that off because you can refinance your PML with another one. But what I tend to do is pay down the principal. So if it was $70,000 loan and I generate $10,000 of excess cash flow, the next time I raise money to replace that private money lender or the existing one, if they want to stay on longer, I'll use that $10,000 and take it from a $70,000 loan to a $60,000 loan. And that is also then further increasing my cash flow on that same investment because now there's less money wasted towards interest and because there's a lower loan balance.
Okay.
Right. So that's really what I'm doing the majority of the time. There's other things you can do. That's what I'm doing first and foremost. I have like 8 things that I do in sequence. That's number one, always going to be the case. If I can remove my private money lenders, so I don't have to have them on an asset, that's the goal. Because then that's more monthly cash flow that I get more stable. For private money partners, it's a little different, right? You guys can mutually decide. But what I never do is pay down my 0 to 6% sub 2 on seller finance debts off early. Like there's no point. That's great. That's phenomenal interest rate. Inflation's getting that up. I'm getting tax benefits for the longer I have this loan, I get the interest pay down. I'm maximizing because then you're defeating the leverage piece of it, right? The only reason why I do it with the 12%, 10 to 12% PMLs is that's pretty high interest, right? That's really what it is. And I'm minimizing my risk if and when I have to sell it because now I'm getting more equity by paying down that debt.
Yeah. And your PMLs, there's typically no penalty for prepayment.
So that's what I said. I usually tend to pay them at that year mark, at the balloon. Some of them I will pay them. But no, I mean, you as the one raising the capital, I control my terms. As the buyer, I control my terms. I have more than enough supply of capital partners than deals that we need funding on. So I control like
you have that luxury.
They decide if they want to work with me or not. But why should I get a penalty for paying them early if I choose to? Some people think, oh yeah, you need to because I wanted you to hold it for a year. So I always ask my lenders, even though I don't have it contractually obligated that I'll pay them a penalty, I'll ask, do you want me to pay you back sooner or not? And one thing that I do is if it's $70K loan and then I have $10,000 in month 6 and it's a 12-month loan, I will ask, can I pay you back this $10K? But I'll still pay them the interest on the $70K for the rest of that loan term.
Okay.
But just putting the money to work right there early. That's why it doesn't matter if I do it now or I hold it in a 5% high yield savings account until the end of the year. I'm better off financially doing that. But if I just want to not even think about it, I'll just give them that 10K, still pay them the interest on that rest of that amount instead of lower that amount. So they're still getting the returns they want. They want to have great relationships with my lenders.
That's true.
Like there's certain things you don't need to contractually obligate, but you also want to take care of your lenders. And if they wanted 12% on that $100,000 and they're going to get $12,000 in 1 year, I'm going to make sure they still get that either way.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I guess that's why a lot of lenders will ask if it's annualized or not, because they want to make sure that they're getting that entire. And I maybe that's one of the reasons why they don't want to get paid out early, because they do want
that is, they don't know where else to put it next. But
yeah,
there's plenty of opportunities if you're establishing that relationships to lend and get even higher returns or just plenty of investment opportunities. That's usually the reason why. It's like, well, I wanted that amount and now I don't think I have a better opportunity to do that. Or like they have a self-directed IRA that doesn't have checkbook control. So they're paying fees every time they're sending money out, receiving money and all that stuff. Maybe there's fees associated with it depending on how they're lending. That could play a role into it as well. But it's usually they don't know what they would put it into next and they thought they were good for a year at 12% or whatever.
Yeah.
So I account for that, but we're not contractually obligated to that. I'm not going to pay a penalty if I do so, but I'm not going to do anything that's against my lender if it doesn't make sense for them. Like, I want us to all work together. There's more enough money for us all to win together. Let's literally all win. That's why negotiating is so easy for me with sellers and agents. Cause it's like, okay, let's make a great scenario for you and the agent, seller and agent. Let's make sure the wholesaler is taken care of. Let's make sure it's my returns. If any of those parties are not feeling satisfied, it's not the right opportunity. It's not the right investment because we can't all win from it. That's where creative is very beneficial compared to cash, because it's not like it's like the lower the price, the more return for one person, the less for the other. Where creative, everyone can literally win. Maybe not everyone's gonna get 100%, but everyone can get 80-85% of what they originally wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's better to get the deal done in that scenario than not at all. So
When you do creative, do you ever do low equity? Would you get into a low equity deal?
yeah, I don't care. As long as my returns are there, I don't care about
You
one
don't
thing
care, like,
too, and I repeat this probably more than anyone, is equity comes and goes, but the cash will always flow. You ever heard that?
yes, I have.
So like the equity, and like that's why I said in one of the trainings, I don't know what training it was the other day. I remember hearing myself saying, people always want to know exactly how much real estate I own, and it's roughly 20 million, and it changes a little bit, right? It changes because we're paying down debts, property values are adjusting, especially over the last couple of years. They're adjusting a little bit. That's like a KPI for the sake of bragging, I guess. But the real thing I care about is how much money am I making passively every single month. That's what I care about more than anything else. Doesn't mean I'm gonna buy something and be like, if it's $100,000 property, am I gonna buy it and raise a bunch of money? So now I'm $200,000 in debt for $100,000 property? No. But if it's a $400,000 property that I have to put $100,000 into all in, and some of that's down payment and commission, because there's always commissions and fees and stuff you got to pay when you're buying
Yeah.
deals anyway. Like if I'm plus or minus 25, 50K in that scenario, am I going to buy that? Yeah. If it gets me 10+% cash on cash return, and my partners and I all get to profit from this thing and generate massive wealth, and I'm not forced to like pay out a balloon in a short amount of time frame, and I know I'm buying a great deal. Yeah. Like that's what I care about. Hopefully that also shined a little light.
Yeah, that helps because I mean, I understand the logic there. And sometimes it's like, even within the same community, you have these differing opinions on, what the best investment types are. Like I'll hear someone say, absolutely do not get into low equity, high equity, or else you're not making any money. And I'm thinking,
I always
okay,
want to say, I don't take advice from anyone who isn't better at the thing that I want to do than I am. Right. And I'm saying, and I want the best people. I don't give a shit what someone is saying to sell their course, to sell their deal vetting thing or whatever. Like, unless you have done better at the thing that I'm trying to do, and I want to be at your level, I don't really care about your advice. Honestly, it's not like to be rude, but everyone has an input. That's why everyone and their mother gossips about nothing and talks about celebrities, and people are talking about what, I don't even want to attack anyone. People talk about whatever and everything, and everyone always has an opinion. Unless you are better than me at the thing that I want to do, and I want to follow your pace,
right.
unless I want to follow your path, and I'm going to listen to Pace, to Dan, to these people who are ahead of me in the thing that I want to do. I don't care about the input and advice, because everyone has input and advice. From your family and friends how many people said, you should never do this, it's a scam, it's this and that. Who cares? I'm not going to take advice from someone who is not in a happy marriage on how I can have a happy marriage, or someone who's a piece of shit parent, father. I'm not going to take advice from them on how to be a good parent. I don't care what you have to say, because you're not doing the thing. Everyone talks. What are you actually doing? Are you someone I want to emulate in what you're doing? And that's really where, like, Alex Hormozy, I want to meet him, but I don't give a shit about what he says about achieving financial freedom, the way he talks about it, because he's telling people to work 100 hours plus a week. He's telling people, like, he has a very different mindset, and it's business, high risk for high reward. Or you can go the real estate route, which is more guaranteed and proven, and it's a higher success rate for like people that are actually doing the thing. Or Dan Martell, who was crazy about how much you should be working and sacrificed all of his time and energy towards building his business, and now is really talking about how do you take that money and buy back your time and make sure you're prioritizing your health, your family, the big rocks. So I talk about this analogy, like the big rocks, making sure your family, your health, your business, all these things are prioritized strategically, right? So it's like, I'm going to take advice from the people who are doing the thing successfully that I want to be doing and I want to emulate. Everyone else, it's literally a waste of time to hear what their opinions are. Because there's so many, everyone, I don't know how or why people are so comfortable with social media. Everyone has a freaking opinion, and everyone has a thought, and everyone has something they recommend. Well, I don't give a shit. You're not doing the thing successfully that I want to do. So why would I take your advice on that? It's literally a waste of everyone's time. And you see
I
people
think
in sub 2 or anywhere, every community, 95% of people are talkers, not doers. And the people that are doers, they're not even successfully doing it consistently. Maybe they've done it, but they're not successfully doing it consistently month over month. We just closed on one with Gary as our partner. We're closing, or actually he funded $250,000 of deals for us in the last 2 weeks. We are closing on one.
Wow.
We're supposed to close this week. We might still be closing Friday. Is that 2 days from now? Like, so it's like take advice from the people who are doing the thing that you want to be doing,
Okay.
and we're raising the money for all that. Like, that's my recommendation, because
No, I like that.
there's not enough time in the world to listen to everyone's opinion and
True.
thoughts.
But I think coming from the perspective of people who aren't as seasoned as you, don't really have that, you know, the wherewithal to say, oh, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to someone else. So,
That's why I'm trying to be so transparent and be brutally honest. And that's the authentically me, is like, I really am this guy. I'm not saying this for the sake of
oh, I'm sure.
followers or viewers or to join potential investor. I don't care. It's not about that. It's like, this is who I am. I want you to succeed if you're willing to put in the work and educate yourself to do so, right? You got to do those things. You got to educate yourself and put in the work. You have to do that to succeed. I want to be that resource for those people that are really trying to succeed and then need that transparent information so they can be successful. Because like I said, a lot of people are just wasting a lot of people's time. Like, here's another one. Everyone and their mother has a podcast. I don't even know what to say about that. Like, they sit there and talk about real estate. What are you doing to propel your business forward? Talk to me about what you're doing to move your business forward. Don't just sit there podcasting and gossiping with people. Move your business forward. Achieve financial freedom. Help other people do the same thing. It's cool. If you're going to podcast for the sake of it, say you're just doing it for fun. Say you're joining these communities and wasting money to join to make friends online. That's fine. But if you're really trying to buy real estate, you know you're not doing the thing. Like me, like I told like, I'm not ripped because I'm not on the right diet and I'm not working out the same way I used to. So if I want to get ripped, I got to put in those actions. There really is nothing to it. I'm not going to sit there and get fitness coaching or diet coaching from someone who's not physically at the place that I want to be at. Genetics and all that aside, like, if they're not bigger and stronger than me, if I want to gain muscle, why would I learn from someone who's not stronger than me, as opposed to the people who've never been to the gym, or they go to the gym and don't work out, or if they are in the gym, it's like, where are your results, bro? Like, you're at the gym. Like, I don't understand. You have all the equipment around you. Why are you not ripped? That's a perfect analogy, is the gym. And
Words to live by. That makes sense.
And I'm not saying this to like be derogatory or anything. I'm saying this as
Oh.
someone who also needs to work on these things. It's like, if you want the result,
Just
follow the
logic.
path of the people that have done the thing actually and have the results. They have the muscles from working out, not say, yeah, here I am. I'm in the gym. I'm at this
Okay.
meetup. I'm in this Zoom call. Like, you make connections, but you never actually buy a property by sitting in a Zoom call.
Yeah. That's so helpful, because I think in this day where everything is information driven, everything is about
Overload.
information overload. Thank you. You just don't know what to believe sometimes, especially when there's certain things you're trying to learn yourself.
Right.
It's just coming from all different ways. So that's
And I
helpful.
want to say the best thing you can do in that scenario is really dive deep into who is the person selling this, pushing this. Where do they make their money, right? How do they make their money? Like, how do they achieve that financial freedom or whatever you're joining them for? How do they actually achieve that? But I understand that's kind of hard because you can't see everyone's journey. You don't know that. It's like hard to dive into that, honestly.
Yeah.
So I say that, like, ideally you can be able to do that. I don't believe in these huge gurus. I think of people who are like more local type mentors, people you can actually, not physically local, but like people you can have more proximity to, because then you get a better understanding of what are they doing. For example, for me, I'm like literally always underwriting deals, raising money. You get on my lenders list, you get on my you go into my Zooms, you see the properties we're closing on, and I barely even market the stuff that I'm doing. I need to do more of it, but follow the journey. Like, try to dive into that. Once again, it's similar to lending, right? The deal might look good, or that what they might be saying might sound good, but like, what is their experience? What have they actually done? And can you trust them to help you do that as well? Can you trust them to effectively manage that property and execute your mission? Or can you trust them to effectively provide you the exact blueprint and the steps and support you need to become financially free through this thing that they're telling you to do? Not, and I get hit more than probably anyone with those insane ads about people, like, if they're telling you you're going to put in no work, and you're like, I get so many of these stupid Airbnb arbitrage or whatever, or,
Mm.
it's like, And that's, I'm not saying you can't generate cash flow from that. I'm not saying that, but if you really want wealth and you want long-term passive income, it's not gonna be renting out someone's property and then trying to rent it for more. Buy that asset, buy the good asset, develop the right skill sets to buy and own that thing, let the wealth build while you're also generating that active income. Like, whoever is trying to sell you a get rich quick scheme, the only one getting rich is them. Like, that's literally it. If they're telling you have to put in no work, that's because it's gonna be essentially no work for them to get your money and then provide you no value.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a lot. I don't think I've ever said any of this stuff out loud to anyone. So there you go. It's all for the internet now.
Well,
It's
thanks for
very, very
indulging me.
valuable. Yeah.
Of course. No, I like
Oh, Michael's got all the gems.
There we go. This is much longer than expected. Thank you, Derek. Yeah, friggin' love your integrity. I mean, like, I think there's nothing worse than raising money to buy real estate and then failing to do that. It's not like if you are raising money and something catastrophic happens, a black swan event you can never account for. Let's say, like, whatever, I don't even need to give a specific example, but let's say something goes wrong and you're not able to, and it's just like you actually could not have controlled that scenario. That's one thing. But if you are raising money and you're not effectively analyzing an investment property and understanding, really putting your due diligence to understand what the returns are expected and what the renovation costs, getting multiple bids, verifying insurance costs, seeing, like, people say, oh my God, I bought this property in Texas and now I'm losing $500 a month because my insurance went up $1,000 a month. Yeah, you should know that in Texas, when you are buying that property, especially a new build, it's going to be assessed at that new sale price or right around it. So your taxes are going to go up and they have really high property taxes. It's up to you to know that if you're going to buy real estate and own it, and if you're going to raise money, especially use someone else's money, because if you do that, and now someone invested money, especially on a fix and flip where you can actually lose everything, a lot harder on a buy and hold, but on a fix and flip, when you can actually lose all of that money that they contributed, I think there's nothing worse than losing a lender's money, because you don't know how many years, even decades it took for them to save that money. You don't know how long they had to mentally overcome the ability to just like, okay, I'm going to trust this person, I'm going to lend, we're going to partner, and they're going to help me. Like, you've now just not only lost their money that took potentially a long time for them to save, but then you've also destroyed their mentality that this is real, that you can actually be financially free doing this. And maybe they will never lend again, or maybe they'll never be part of real estate again. And now they've just lost their ability to their path to financial freedom, because you're not going to do that by working and saving money under a mattress. You have to invest. I don't even care if you're investing passively in index funds like the stock market. I have plenty of money sitting in the stock market as well, just passive index funds. But the things that have actually made me financially free: buying, holding real estate, ideally raising the money to buy that real estate so it's none of my own money, so I can buy every great opportunity that comes up, and then lending money out to other proven real estate investors. That's what's actually made me financially free. And if you derail someone from that, then you're really just minimizing their ability to, like, actually achieve that level of financial freedom. And I hate that. I hate not just the loss of money, but that you've just destroyed their potential to be financially free, because now they don't trust any of this anymore. You, like, broke their heart or trust. You broke their trust, and now they can never trust someone else because it's all a scam. Their family's gonna hit them with an "I told you so." Maybe they can't. I don't think people should lend if they can't pay their mortgage or rent, right? Don't lend that money out. Never lend money out you cannot stand to lose, but you've just derailed them entirely from this path to financial freedom. And that I hate, because I don't think anyone should work until they're 80, 90 years old, even 65 years old. Like, if you can, and you have this information, you should not have to work for the rest of your life. Work, make money, be financially free, do literally whatever else you want with your life. For me, spend time with my wife, spend time with my baby, going to the pumpkin patch on a Tuesday where no one else is there or very few people are there. That is the goal. Driving my baby, or when she's older, driving her to and from school, going to all the sporting events, taking my family on nice vacations, working like this remotely from at home, doing things I love, helping other people be financially free. That's what you should be doing, not killing yourself for the rest of your life for some CEO or some, for me, government work, like military and government, like doing all that. Like, I don't even know what the point of life is if you have to do that like over and over and over again. And I understand that also ties into like materialism and why people spend money on shit that doesn't matter to impress people that don't matter. Like, why do that? But that's the cycle. That's the majority of I'll say our country, maybe the world, probably the world, because, as Russian and Armenian and, all these other countries too. Like, people do things for materialism to impress people. Why don't you just like live your life to be financially free so then you can do anything you want anytime you want within financial reason, right? But like at least you're not dependent on someone else. If you get fired or laid off or whatever, you're not totally screwed. Like even just being, maybe you don't have 15 properties, maybe you don't have $20,000 a month of passive income, but you have $3,000. Can that sustain you and your family if something, if things hit the fan, can that sustain you and your family and at least provide you some support in that maybe dark moment in your life? Like, all right, that's it. We gotta go. I'm gonna I get canceled after this one.
I appreciate you being real about that. And I'll just tell you, I'm 54. I've made a lot of mistakes, as everybody does, no matter what your age is. But I was very blessed. My wife worked a job that allowed me to be around my son, take care of him. There is no better feeling than that. Now my son's, 20, he's going to have his second knee surgery, and we're able to help him along in that regards because of the position we're in. Now, I'm not financially free, that is for sure, but I know that I have the pathway, and to be very honest, I was hesitant to come on this because I didn't want to hear another bullshit story. And there, you did not speak any story. You spoke truth. You spoke realness, all integrity. The $200 a month isn't a stretch, but it's not the easiest for me right now. But there's no way I can't, if I put in the work, I've been trying to do it for someone else in the last 6 months, getting 2 deals, hopefully 3 or 4 can still fall through, but I can see where you can help me along the way from your guidance and the blueprint. I still have to do the work. And, it is a breath of fresh air, regardless if it's just, the three of us on here right now, or there's, the four of us on here. I really, really appreciate how honest, and just absolutely full of integrity you've been on this call, because it means a ton. Not that pace has never been that way, but this is the second group that I see that, and it's just getting better. I am getting myself around the right people. So
And
thank
remember,
you.
I'm part of the PACE and Sub2 ecosystem too.
Yep.
And I tell everyone, join Sub2. Like the number one thing you got to do is join Sub2 for community without it. And there's every piece of information you've ever wanted in there for everything real estate investing.
Yes.
For me, it's just like very strategic for financial freedom. Like I don't want to be like my mentor. I don't want to be like Pace. He works really hard and he's gone a lot and he does a lot of amazing stuff for the community and the business. That's why Sub2 is what it is. That's not my path. My path is financial freedom to do what I want when I want to do it. I know a lot of people want to do that. They don't want to travel the country every day or whatever to do meetups and this and that. They want to pick and choose what they do. And I'm more of like a balanced approach. And he's going to be a billionaire. I'll be well, I guess I am, but I'll be 100 million's fine. I don't need to be a billionaire. Like I'll be reasonable. I'm just kidding.
Small
But like
potatoes.
we just have, everyone has different goals. This is my vibe. This is the vibe that I have, and that's the tribe I'm trying to build, is those people on that same wavelength. Doesn't mean you can't take my information and become a billionaire. Of course you can. It's the same concept. You just do it over and over and over again. You just scale your way up that way. So thank you for saying all that. I appreciate it. And I think the main thing is I'm not sitting here trying to craft a story. Like I like that I use that word because I think a lot of other people are crafting a story of what they want to be or what they think people want to hear. I'm just telling you what I've done and what's gotten me here and how you can do the same thing. That's the difference. There's nothing to hide. It's just like, I've literally got nothing to hide. This isn't, I'm fortunate for the life that I live and what I've been able to accomplish in 4 years. I want to help other people do the same thing. You should be able to get there even faster than me. And when I say 65, 80, I actually don't care about your age, because the way you should think about time is always relative to like where you're at now and what can you accomplish in the next 5, 10 years, whether you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 50 years old, 80 years old. Would you rather still have to work for someone else in 10 years from now or 5 years from now or whatever? It doesn't matter where your starting age is. It matters like, what are you going to do over the next 5, 10 years either way? That's what really matters. Not your starting point, but like relative to now, what are you going to do moving forward? That's really what I mean. When I focus on age, I'm talking about the next several years. Not like the actual age, because everyone has different challenges and different opportunities. This is you said first or second time we've ever done this. So like, this is your like opportunity, I guess, to then change that trajectory for yourself, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
for sure. It's to get my wife out of her 9 to 5 that's crushing her from a corporate level position, where there's zero respect. She works her bottom off and there's zero respect on the back end. It's all what's in it for me. And the other part is my son's in college. He wants to get out. He's wildlife biology. He's going to be lucky if he makes 60 grand a year.
Mhm.
He needs opportunities. And, I've been speaking to him about this, and I want to do this for myself, my wife now, and my son from a legacy perspective moving forward. So,
And that's exactly it. That's where that cash flow for financial freedom comes in. And that's what my number one goal is, to free up my wife. And then as soon as we had our baby, I said, I'm done with the W-2 world. I kept stacking my chips, kept investing, and said, all right, now I'm done too, because I want that time with my baby. And then that legacy, which comes from owning these assets and letting the appreciation, the debt pay down. Plus, no one's going to be upset with 20 plus $1,000 a month coming in cash flow, or 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever it is, plus the wealth. Someone is literally paying down tens of thousands of dollars of debt for me every single month. They could do the same thing for you. It's incredible. It's actually insane that this is the way our world works, or this is the way our economy, like whatever. But I'm not going to, who am I to, I'm just going to utilize what's in front of me and what can allow me and my family and you all to be financially free and just live your best life.
yeah.
Cool, y'all. All right. Thank you.